Hi, welcome to Bringing Hope to Alzheimer's. I'm Ann Fraser, and today we're going to talk about brain fog. And we're going to talk about a couple things that might seem a little controversial, but really it's worth the conversation. So with that being said, let's just talk a little bit about Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And let's remind ourselves again that dementia is that umbrella, and there's lots of different kinds of dementia. Alzheimer's disease being the main, most common type of dementia. And then there's a lot of other kinds. There's hundreds of kinds, but we've heard of Lewy body dementia or frontal temporal lobe dementia or vascular dementia and so forth. There's many kinds, but Alzheimer's disease being one of the most common. So when we're talking about dementia and we're talking about brain fog and things like that, let's dive a little bit deeper into that. So have you ever noticed in the afternoons maybe, you start getting just kind of like I feel like I need a nap, you get kind of brain fog, you're just kind of like sort of feel like you're done for the day? Or have you ever woke up in the morning and you feel like a truck hit you in the middle of the night? You're just like, you wake up and you're like, where am I? What am I doing? What is my name? What day is it? Where am I supposed to be today? Those types of things. So brain fog can be a real thing. And it could just mean that you had really bad sleep. It could mean that you're super stressed, things like that. But one of the things that I want to talk about today is COVID. So with COVID, if you know someone who's never had it, yay, good for you. I don't think I do. So many people either have had COVID once, if not multiple times, and some people have gotten the shot or both. They've gotten the shot and they've had COVID. And many of us know people like that. I can talk personally about myself. I got COVID back in 2021 and I got it bad. Mark and I, my husband and I, we got it really, really bad. And I believe that I had long COVID. I had brain fog for so long that it was a little bit debilitating in the fact that on top of already having compromised brain, because I have pre-Alzheimer's and I know that I had the ApoE4 gene, I was having more and more trouble with my brain once I had COVID. Now, was it made up in my head? I don't think it was. I've heard a lot of other people who've experienced those same kind of issues. Some people did not. Everybody's different. But by and large, there was a lot of people who felt like they had a lot of brain fog. And we're having a big uptick in COVID right now. And so I'm kind of starting to hear these things come back around. So from all of the doctors that I'm studying, because you know that I look at everything that has to do with brain, dementia, Alzheimer's, I'm looking at these studies, I'm watching and paying really close attention to what's happening. And they are starting to see people who have some brain fog again. And it has to do with sometimes whether it's the spike protein in it and so forth. So COVID itself sometimes can cause people to have, we've seen people with an uptick in cancers. We've seen people with an uptick in cardiovascular diseases. And we've seen some people with an uptick in dementia. And so overall, we are seeing a lot of people who are starting to have some cognitive difficulties younger and younger. And so we're seeing people in their 40s and 50s. You all can remember some of the people I've had on this show where we've talked about and we've talked with people who at 45, Sarah Kellogg, who was having difficulty and was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. So a lot of these things we're really kind of looking at and figuring out what is that correlation. And if you do have spike protein in your system from having COVID and or the shot, how does your body get rid of that spike protein? Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm just following the science and kind of listening to a lot of different things. There are some doctors that you can go online. Dr. Peter McCullough is one of them, Dr. Dale Bredesen. There's some other doctors that have some different ideas about some different supplements that you can take that help dissolve the spike protein. So for instance, when my husband and I had COVID so bad and we were going on 6-8 weeks post-COVID and still just really, really having that really confused brain where just things seem to be a little more scrambled. I spoke with my doctor and we came up with some supplements that are over the counter that Mark and I took for about 3 to 6 months, and that it really helped and that fog seemed to lift. So as you're going through life, and if COVID and or the shot feel like I've got some brain fog going on that wasn't there before I was sick, I think that's something that's really, really good to look into some of the functional medicine type doctors that are looking at where's that spike protein, has it settled in maybe my brain, in my coming out through my cognition and having kind of that foggy brain. So you can look into some of those doctors. You can talk with your personal doctor, but definitely it did help me. I know that I had Sarah Kellogg on podcast months ago now, but she had, you can look that episode up, but she had a really bad, that's where she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 45, and they were able to kind of bring it back to when she had COVID. And so her doctor did something, put her on a therapeutic that's called blue carnitine or carnitine blue. That's something that's newer out, that wasn't out when I had COVID, or that they're using at least. So again, these are things you can discuss with your doctor. These are things that you definitely want your doctor on board, talking with you about how much to take of what. But there are some things that you can possibly do if that's a problem for you. So this episode is brought to you by Thrive Once More. And I'm going to tell you a personal story because Thrive Once More, I was looking for a new functional medicine, integrative medicine doctor, and I found Dr. Ann Morgan. She was a ER doctor for 22 years and got tired of seeing people come in so sick and just being able to treat the symptom that was happening at the moment and not really the inside of the body. So she started her own practice called Thrive Once More, where she helps men and women figure out what medical issues are going on in the body and how to get to the root cause so you can actually heal and not just take a pill or do something that's going to just treat the symptom and not the problem. So Thrive Once More, Dr. Ann Morgan, she's my personal doctor. If you want to make an appointment for just a quick consultation, you can go to thriveoncemore.com. And we want to thank her for being a supporter of this podcast. If you've not experienced that because of COVID or having the shot, but you're just starting to experience some fogginess in your brain, again, those are some things that you definitely want to check out. It's easy. It's really easy to be able to justify things away. It's easy to say, oh, I just haven't been sleeping well. Oh, I'm under stress. Oh, I'm just, I haven't been exercising a lot lately. That's probably why. And those are all great, valid reasons, but those are also things that you want to dig into and not just keep justifying it away, but kind of dig in and figure out what do you need to do to maybe help lift that brain fog. So again, there's so many great resources on our website. There's also a lot of great resources that you can find. Again, you can Google and look up some of the podcasts that Dr. Dale Bredesen has been on. If you're looking at some COVID things, Dr. Peter McCullough has done a lot of work with COVID and some of the brain fog from that and so forth. So there's a lot of great resources out there. I suggest that you talk with your doctor, look into some of these resources and figure out with your doctor what's going to be best for you. And brain fog is no fun, and it's definitely something that you want to pay attention to. So anyways, I appreciate you listening today. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time on Bringing Hope to Alzheimer's.